And welcome back to the Morning Drill. 8:38 is our time on this Thursday morning. And joining us this morning is Dr. Barry Cressman from the First Presbyterian Church, formerly of the First Presbyterian Church. He is now retired after 42 years behind the pulpit. And we welcome you to the program this morning. Good morning and congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much, Luke. It's nice to be able to drop by.
42 years.
You have such a beautiful place here. And
well, thank you.
I understand that congratulations are in order, that from now on you'll be, the two of you, am I right, broadcasting the news every morning, live.
Mark and Kate, they're doing...
Super. So congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. We welcome the chance, and we have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I know you do. And being on the radio and television, both fun. And, so
42 years. Take us back to the moment that you decided Titusville was the place for you.
Oh, that's a long story, Luke. Actually, I've known Titusville since 1969. I came here as a student following my first year at Princeton Seminary. Kind of an odd story. I had arranged to go to a small church in Davenport, New York, and I got a letter at the last minute that said, "So sorry, we've hired a Harvard fella. Princeton's not quite good enough. You're not up to par. He has, what can you say?" And so I thought, okay, well, I guess that means I'm from the town of Oyster Bay in New York. That means I'm going to go back to my hometown. I'll have a job shoving transformers around on the dock of the Long Island Lighting Company. And, I wasn't exactly looking forward to that because, I'd done that before. That was old hat. And then I got an invitation. In those days, there were two little churches yoked to the downtown church. There was a church out of Gresham called the Curhill Church. There was a church in Rometown, and they were yoked under the umbrella of the Titusville Church. And the associate pastor at the downtown church had left. So at the last minute, the dean of field education at Princeton calls me up and said, "Would you like to do the job?" Two little churches, they're under supervision of the downtown church. And so I had the great privilege of working with my predecessor. Some of your radio or television audience will remember Joe Leckie, who was an absolutely amazing human being. He was first of all 6'7".
Oh, wow. My goodness!
He spoke with a very strong Scots accent, and so I had to deal with that. And so every morning, Tuesday especially, I have to go down to see Joe Leckie, and I have to do the translation from the Greek of the passage from which I was going to preach that Sunday morning. And he also taught me how to speak in Scots. So if you'd like me to do it, I can do it. It was a very exciting time. And Titusville was a very different place, needless to say. I think we'd better speak in English. I'm sorry, yes.
No. So, and you talk about this quite a bit. I mean, you love New York. You love New York City.
Let's.
Was it difficult to come to small town USA?
Well, I will tell you this, that when I accepted the job in Titusville, the pastorate of the First Presbyterian Church, my dad, who had never lived further than roughly 50 to 75 miles from the East Coast, said, "Why are you going to the frontier?"
Never mind the Midwest.
Now, why are you going to the frontier? And you understand that's the way New Yorkers think, that the whole world revolves around New York. And if you live...
I'm familiar with Oyster Bay.
Yeah, if you're further than 50 miles from New York, then you're somehow dumb.
Oh, my.
Stupid, whatever. And I said to my dad, well, Dad, it's, pleasant offer. And give me 5 years, and I'll be back in, the suburbs of New York. And you know how life works. I really fell in love with Titusville. Titusville, then it was a bustling community, but I'm still in love with Titusville. It's a beautiful place.
Early on, did you think, and you kind of just said that, in 5 years I'd be back. At what point did you start thinking, you know what, this is where I want to be? I don't want to leave here, and I am a Titusville person now?
Oh, that's a very complex question. I can't give you a simple answer to that, but I can tell you this: that
did 5 years?
I fell in love. Okay, I fell in love. I think that both of you know my wife Lynn, and I fell in love. And several years after I was here, we got married. The next thing you know, we buy a house, we have children, the children are through kindergarten, the children are in junior high, it was then junior high, the children are, see, that's the way life flows.
But even at that point, did you still, in the back of your mind, think, maybe I'd get back, or maybe...
No. New York, the suburbs of New York changed. The suburbs of New York... You had this kind of sprawl from the city out into the suburbs, and so the suburbs became very busy. And I had no desire to live in or around a large city anymore.
I would be interested in your take on, say, central New Jersey. You said you went to
Princeton.
Yeah. And I went to a little school, state school in Trenton. It's called...
that's where the crooks came from. That's where all the crooks came from Trenton. I mean, for those
yes, that was it.
So
Trenton
that's what
State
you are.
College. I'm a crook.
You're a crook.
I am not Mal, nor have I
Did you know
ever
his
been a crook.
alias? Oh, okay. But
Rip Van Winkle.
Rip Van Winkle. Yeah, I know. So all the crooks came from Trenton. Some of you who are not familiar with the geography of New Jersey, Trenton is about 15 miles west of Princeton, and Princeton is kind of this oasis of, how shall I put it? The oasis of tranquility, and at the same time, you've been there. You know,
yes.
it's an oasis of prosperity.
Yes,
you have
is.
These big mansions. You have these people who are very creative.
The governor lives there.
The governor, yes, foo on Trenton. Why should the governor live in the capital city when he can live
in Princeton?
And he can live, at Drumthwacket, just up the road from Princeton. Why? I mean, in this great Gadsby-like mansion. Why live in Trenton? So you're taught very early that you should lock your dormitory door, because you might have somebody from Trenton infiltrating the place, and it was a wonderful opportunity for graduate students, especially these wealthy people who inhabited these castles of prosperity. They would relocate to the south. I mean, it does get a little winter-like in New Jersey. And they would hire students to live in their homes, just to carry guns, just to deal with you folks from Trenton. I actually have never been. I have never been in Trenton. Sometime I'll have to interview you about Trenton.
Yes.
All we do is we heard about these awful people who came from Trenton, and they'd have to pass through Lawrenceville, and then they'd come to Princeton. And
the college campus was pretty nice. I don't know about the rest of it.
Yeah, I know it's a lovely place.
So as you set up your life here in Titusville, did you think early on that I'm going to do this for 30 years and retire 35? Kind of explain the 42 mark, because this is not only an impressive number outside of the church.
Now, if you tell people that I have been at this for 42 to 45 years, then...
But you started very young. You were very fortunate.
I was very young. That's right. I was about 12. I was a prodigy. I was a child prodigy, standing up there, doing my thing from the pulpit at age 12. What can I say? No, is 42 a magic number? No, 42. My dad always used to say you should retire when you're still at the top of your game. So I like to think that I'm in some measure at the top of my game.
And 25 was too early.
Yeah, it was too early to retire.
I'm just kidding.
35 or 40. Yeah.
So at what point did you realize, what? This is the time I'm going to make the announcement, or did you have that private conversation with your wife, and did you say,
yeah,
this is the year, or this is the summer?
Yeah, some of your television listeners know that my wife retired after 37, something like that, years of teaching with the Titusville area school system, and so she was lonely, for one thing. And just as God taps you on the shoulder and says, I call you to do this, or I call you to go to that situation, I think that God taps you on the shoulder in a way and says, it's time. 45 years in ministry is a very long time. How long have you been in your career?
It hasn't been 45 years.
No. And I'm in good health, and trust me, the Presbytery of Lake Erie, under the umbrella of which I serve, has some very interesting things for me to tend to. Now, I can't tell you about that. That's not quite public information yet.
Now, I'm going to pretend that I'm in the public. You and I have some conversations, but
you live next to me, so of course we have some conversations.
Right. So, but I'm going to pretend I'm the public.
His roof. Yeah, he's going to repair his roof, and then he's going to repair the fence.
That's right.
And he's got to grow grass. And he's promised us that the children will not play boom boxes out their window on Sunday morning. Boom.
It's not the kids; it's the wife. I have to worry about.
And Luke has these 6 limousines that he parks, and he parks them in our parking lot. But on Sunday,
that's what it's all about.
Yes, there's the limousine that comes to get him every morning to bring him to work.
So what am I missing here?
What else can you expect from a television personality but a limousine? I mean, they wake him up, bang, 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 at about 4:00 in the morning.
Where's that in my contract?
It's not.
They have to bring him down here for the makeup and the hair job and all the rest, and then he appears on the Today Show.
Something like that. So, but
I've missed the whole line of work here.
So, as the public, though, there's a lot of things. First of all, people are amazed at your career, 42 years, 45 years altogether. But what happens next? Are you allowed to attend the church? Will you go to a different church? Will you just relax? What are some of those plans?
Well, I'm going to play golf 24/7. No. No. If only I were that good. Of course I'll be allowed to attend the church. I mean, who in the world... Is the Pope going to come and say, you may not attend the First Presbyterian? This is the church in which my wife grew up. My children grew up in this church. So, yes. Maybe not for the next couple of Sundays, and then I'm going to be on vacation for a little bit. But, yeah.
So you'll take vacation during retirement?
I plan to sing solos in the choir. Joe Thompson, he's pretty good.
He is. And he wrote a very special song for you.
He did. He wrote for those of you who didn't see it, he wrote an absolutely magnificent song for me and sang it on Sunday. And, so I have a future as a baritone. Bum, 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 da, 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 da.
But not on the golf links.
No, I'm afraid, I'm all, no future there, except that I do enjoy it. I mean, one can enjoy things that one is very bad at.
Well, yeah.
That's interesting. Do you have to be good at something to enjoy it?
Probably not.
No, you don't have to be good at it. So I'm not very good at it, but, the part of the delight of my game is finding the balls. That was supposed to be funny.
Well,
I'm sorry.
It would be if I didn't have that same problem.
You have the same problem.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you can make that into fun. Along the way, you have to be careful not to get poison ivy. But
true.
This is true.
Now, this is from Sunday. It's a clip, and this is a statement that you made. And
oh dear me, you're going to play this now.
I'm going to play this.
I'm totally, that's past.
Just a little clip.
Past tense.
All right. Well, here's from this past Sunday.
I love you. You are my best friends in all the world, my extended family. And though after tomorrow I may no longer be your pastor, let me promise you, I will always be your friend. Always. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
When did you begin to draft that final speech?
Saturday morning at about 10 o'clock.
Did you?
Let me say to you that watching oneself on TV is a very humbling experience. That doesn't mean I never watch, but usually what I watch is I love it when I see the congregation and hear them singing the opening hymn to the accompaniment of both organ and trumpet. So I watched that, and then I skip to the choir's anthem, and then I skip over my sermon, and I go to the end.
I must tell you.
You do the same thing.
Well, honestly, I do not like to listen to myself. I don't.
Watching yourself on TV, it's a very humbling experience, watching yourself on TV. You know what you wanted to say, and then you see how it came out. And so often there's a vast... Not for you guys, of course, but for me, sometimes there's a vast discrepancy between what you wanted to say and you hoped to say, and it was so felicitous the way you wanted to put it, and then you see what you actually said, and you say, "Oh my God!" Well,
did you, throughout your career, did you ever think to yourself, when I retire, this is what I'm going to say, or this is what I'm going to talk about?
No.
Because I think in broadcasting, to a degree, you kind of do that. Mark, I'm sure once in a while you come across some thoughts.
Yes. Well, I get up every morning and look in the mirror and practice my retirement speech because I never know if I'm going to be here at the end of the day.
No, I could have made this. I could have said the same thing and have said the same thing over many years. I love Titusville, and I absolutely love the people of the First Presbyterian Church of Titusville. I don't think, and I think this would be an accurate statement. I know it is accurate because I was at the General Assembly of the denomination a couple of weeks ago and had a chance to talk with the stated clerk of the PCUSA. His name is Grady Parsons. And he said, I don't know anybody who has been in the same church for 42, and for some it would be 45 years because of those summers. And, I love my people. They're my best friends. I mean, you guys are included in that. You don't happen to be Presbyterian, but that I could have said. I was saying the same sorts of things 35, 40 years ago. 10 years ago.
I must tell you, you bring a lot of spirit to the community. I do recall an event in 2009.
Oh, I thought you were going to remind me of the time we had to dress up as ladies to raise money at the hospital.
No. I wasn't going to bring
Well, there is
that.
You weren't even born. How would you know about that? Howard Newson and I, oh my heavenly days.
Well, what I was going to mention to you is in 2009, during the Oil 150 celebration here in the area, you led a presentation at the church one evening. I believe it was, Presbyterian Church. And what reminded me was the shot of the congregation there. And the visitors that came in for the presentation about the history of the church, and I believe that you gave a little bit of information about that. We came in, we sat in the pews, and you introduced us to all of the people that rented a pew so many years ago. And I don't remember who it is that I represented, but I remember being...
Okay, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. How did we do that? And that was not phony. Until 1920, the church raised its money by renting its pews. And we happened to have, dating all the way back into the 1870s, the pew rental charts. So we know exactly where everybody sat.
Yes.
We know where the Scheides sat. We know where the Emersons sat. We know where, and so we assigned you to, as I recall, we gave you a card.
Yes.
And the pews are still numbered.
Yes.
Now, if anybody visits our church, you'll see the pews are all numbered, and those were the numbers that correspond with these huge charts that we still have them. They're very old, but we still have them. And so we gave out cards, and you were to sit. Who were you? Do you remember who you were?
I do not remember who I was, but I remember it was quite detailed.
Yeah. We had McKinney's, not the President McKinney family, but there was another McKinney family in town, and all of John D. Rockefeller's right-hand men sat in those pews.
Wow.
And in addition to John Rockefeller's men, you also had what were called the independents, people like Ted Westgate, and the two of them were like this, the independents saying to Rockefeller's men, "You are not going to buy us out. No way are you going to buy us out." So you had this clashing in the congregation, and you can see from the pew charts where these people sat, throwing spitballs at each other. While the pastor is praying, thinking nasty thoughts. Like, I'm going to buy up your business tomorrow, whether you like it or not.
So a little bit of religion and a little bit of business taking place on a Sunday morning.
That's always the way it is, isn't it? I mean, that's always, it's never been any different than that. Of course, a lot of things other than religion take place within the context of one's church experience. Friendships are formed, business partnerships are formed. That's part of the dynamic of church life.
And over 42 years, you've had the experience of watching not only other kids go through the church and grow up.
And they're all old now, yes.
But your kids, I mean, I hate to say that the church was a second home for your family, because it was probably more of a first home, I would imagine.
Could you clarify?
Well, I'm just saying, the amount of time that you spent there, your wife and the kids going through youth.
Let me clarify that.
Okay.
We had a rule with our children, because we did not want the children to be referred to by that awful title PKs, preachers' kids. I've never heard anybody refer to my children in that way, and we went to great lengths to avoid that. And so my children were involved in sports, soccer, tennis, football, music, chorus, a host of hobbies, and they showed up for church programs only when there were programs specifically designed for them. I mean, you live next to us, and so you know we have programs for little kids, and then through the elementary as they move through, and middle school fellowship and senior high. And of course Sunday school and worship. And those were the programs for which my children showed up. My children did not hang around the church, and neither did Lynn. Lynn was busy enough as a teacher.
Yes, I imagine so. I mean, having...
Well, she was not only, an English teacher, but she was chairman of the department.
Yes.
And so that's a major responsibility. And Luke, I think you had her.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you know that she gave, an essay to write every single night. Not quite.
Not quite.
But when you're an elementary teacher, English is one of the biggies in terms of taking home papers every single night. You're taking home.
I would watch.
And so she was very busy with that.
Yeah, she was.
And I know you would come spy. You look through the window and see what grade she was giving.
Well, I would.
Tom.
But you would see her leaving in the evening, because when you're involved with sports, you would see some of the teachers who would be working late, and even leaving late, she would be taking home a stack of papers.
Oh yes, every night. And every single vacation that we took until she retired, she would bring along with her term papers, research papers, to grade. So to answer your question, my private life with my family was here. My professional life was focused on the First Presbyterian Church.
That's great. It's 9 o'clock. This is where we would typically break. Do you have a few more minutes if we run over?
Absolutely.
You are retired now.
Yes.
What's in store for you? What do you guys have
what's in
planned?
store for me? Well, after I leave the studio, we're heading down to the suburbs of D.C. to visit a 94-year-old aunt of mine who enjoys our company and who still is vital and energetic. And so I have more freedom to visit family. I have two sisters who are married and have families. One lives in the suburb of Reading, the other in the suburb of Allentown. So more of an opportunity to visit with them. I have an opportunity to look out maybe a little more carefully for my lawn, and I do like to play golf. I said that earlier. I'm not good at it, but I like to play the game. So there's that. And then the Presbytery of Lake Erie, with which this church is affiliated, does have things in mind for me. You don't want your brain to turn to mush in your retirement.
I don't think that would happen somehow.
So you spent 45 years learning how to do it. It's a craft, really. It is a craft, and it's like anything else. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So yeah, I plan to use it. Just how, that hasn't yet been decided, but yeah, that's.
I recall that when my father retired from teaching, a lot like Lynn, after so many years, he quit teaching in school. He never quit being a teacher. Mm-hmm. Somehow I have a feeling that's probably going to be in your set of cards that you're dealt.
Well, it's part of my DNA at this point. What can I say?
You'll retire from the pulpit, but I don't think you'll ever stop preaching.
And I have very, very great commitments to certain things that go on in the community. As some of you know, I was one of the founders of the Crawford Heritage Community Fund. foundation, and I that's very important to me, and so I plan to continue certainly my work with them. I'm very much involved with and committed to the YMCA. I plan to continue my commitments there. Why don't you come down and work out with us at lunchtime, you two guys?
We probably should.
I'll get you in shape.
He is such a slave driver, though. I never get to leave this place.
Oh,
I
could make him look like a piker.
I am chained to this place.
No. So there's you're chained to this place. Thraldom, slavery. Oh my word! I see the chains under there.
I
thought
you thought he was making it up. Yeah, he's not.
Word. There's this huge table leg that's made out of. Oh my!
I know. Yes.
Look,
terrible.
I'm shocked at you. My easygoing neighbor who shouts at me, "Hi, goodbye."
And I'm going to miss that. Was there pressure when you made that announcement? Did you feel burdened that maybe this was a mistake, or were people I guess okay with you and saying congratulations, this is well deserved? Did you get anybody that said, oh no, you can't leave?
Well, Moses led the Israelites through the wilderness for 40 years. I managed to beat him by 2. I mean, what can I say? Jesus' public ministry lasted for about 3 years. I beat him by 39. I mean, what can I say to that? Yeah. Yes, of course I have mixed feelings about it, but at my advanced age, life does move on. It moves on for me, but it also moves on for the congregation that I dearly love. I may not be their pastor, but as I said, and with greatest sincerity Sunday, I may not be your pastor, but I will still be your friend. And by the way, the same goes for you guys. I may no longer be pastor of the Presbyterian Church, but I'm still your friend.
Well, that's great to know, because we would love to have you back.
Would you really?
Yes.
Oh, there are all kinds of things we can talk about.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
now I have more time to talk.
That's right.
Yeah, actually, we can make an appointment. He'll actually be there.
Yeah, that's right. I won't did I ever let you down? Maybe I did.
No, I don't think you ever have.
No, but we have more time to chat about things. And I've, as you know, great interest in lots of things. Yeah.
All right, excellent. Mark, any other questions?
Wow. No, I don't. I'm just very sincere when I say it's been a privilege to have gotten to know you while you have pastored here in Titusville, and I'm just looking forward to our next conversation.
Good. Put it there.
We'll betcha.
Do it. You all know that we're not leaving Titusville. We own a home, and our son practices law not very far away. Our son Toby, our younger son, is an engineer for Joy Global. So, yeah, and besides that, as I said earlier, we absolutely love Titusville. Titusville is my home now.
So when you go on vacation, I'll be happy to house sit for you.
Would you really?
I have to find the key to the chains first here.
Yeah, so he has to find the key to the chain first.
Oh, okay.
That's right. All righty. Dr. Cressman, thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you, Luke.
All righty. Mark, what'd you learn today?
Wow. That's tough, but I have learned that a 45-year career in ministry doesn't mean the end of the ministry. It just means a different way of ministering.
Right. Absolutely.
Right.
And by the way, the same will be true for you fellows when it's time for you to retire.
I think so.
You absolutely do not want to retire to nothing.
I'll keep that in
You
mind.
absolutely don't want to retire to nothing.
What good advice.
Yeah, absolutely.
What did you learn today?
What did I learn today? I learned that Luke no longer regards me as his neighbor. I mean, I live exactly 1 mile. I live exactly 1 mile from his home. Luke, in funny thing, in New York, they never say, I live a mile from this or I live a mile from that. They always say, well, I live a half an hour from that. I live 15 minutes from that. And it depends upon the time of day, So I live a half an hour from you at 2 a.m. in the morning, and I live 3 hours from you at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
That Titusville rush hour.
And I look forward to being invited back. We can always find something interesting to talk about.
All right.
My great interest in Titusville, its history, the oil industry, and because my church was so involved with that industry, needless to say, as you know, I know a great deal about that.
Then we need to, probably around Oil Festival time would be great to have that conversation.
Very happy to do that.
All right.
Excellent.
Very
Excellent.
happy to do that.
And tomorrow is the 4th of July. We will be here delivering the news for you. So we'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for daybreak and then 7 to 9 with the morning drill. Chance of showers today, thunderstorms possible, 77 for a high. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow.